Welcome back to Real Shame, a show where me and he talk about our list of movie blind spots, aka list of shame. My name's Andy.
And I'm Adam.
And on Monday, we talked about a movie from my list of shame that I had never seen before, directed by Barry Levinson, called Diner. Adam decided to pair that with another Barry Levinson film. What movie is that?
All right, a group of high school aged buddies struggle with their imminent passage into adulthood in 1954 Baltimore in Liberty Heights.
Like clockwork, if it's Rosh Hashanah, Nate and Charlie must pay a visit.
What can I say? It's tradition.
The canna sings, that's how cute to see the new caddy.
Pretty. Pretty and green.
They're calling it mist green.
Is that what they're calling it?
I thought you were going to take a look at the convertible.
Ada keeps talking 4 doors. Convenience.
Carl Zaitsev was in. I told him you were coming to see the new caddies.
699. He always bets the same number. For 10 years now, it is the same number. It would have been a shock if there was another number on this paper.
Is there any price increase this year?
And let's go back and look at the paperwork. I haven't had a chance to look it over. It just literally came in.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Sorry.
We're gonna get a pull for that one.
We are.
Liberty Heights came out in 1999. It is written and directed again by Barry Levinson. Barry Levinson, who we talked about last time, who did Diner. This is also part of his unofficial, I'm going to assume, Friends and Family from Baltimore series. So with Diner, Tin Men, and Avalon, we have Liberty Heights. Levinson, well known for a bunch of movies he won. He won directing Rain Man. He got a Best Oscar for that. He's known for Toys, right? You said Rain Man was his.
I think he won for that. I know it won Best Picture. I think he won Best Director. Yeah.
Toys, Good Morning Vietnam, The Natural, all that kind of stuff. Liberty Heights stars Adrian Brody as Vin Kurtzman, Ben Foster as Ben Kurtzman, Orlando Jones as Little Melvin, Baby, was that Newith as Ada Kurtzman, Joe Montana as Nate Kurtzman, Rebecca Johnson as Sylvia, and David Krumholtz as Yussel. Yes, Numbers himself is in this movie. This is a movie that I'm not sure if I've seen or not, because a lot of the scenes seem very familiar to me, but I don't remember seeing it, so I was very confused. But it's also, is this a movie that you've seen before?
Never seen it, no.
It's also a movie you've never seen, so it's a great pairing. Barry Levinson double feature, movies that you both haven't seen. We both liked, were favorable for Diner. So let's see where we fall on Liberty Heights. What'd you know about Liberty Heights before you watched it? And what'd you think about Liberty Heights after watching it?
Nothing. I knew nothing about Liberty Heights. I mean, I'm sure I probably was aware of this film when it came out 23 years ago, but I have since completely forgotten about it. And honestly, when you first put it on the list, my mind was thinking it was the movie The Battle of Shaker Heights. Have you ever heard of that one? That was like a Project Greenlight movie. Okay, from I think around the same time.
I've heard of it. I've heard of it. Now that you said it's Project Greenlight, I think I'm getting glimpses of it in my memory, but it doesn't really wholly ring a bell for me.
Yeah, so I've never seen Battle of Shaker Heights either, but I was thinking that was this movie. I was like, oh, it's
but
that.
Project Greenlight.
I was like, oh, it's that Project Greenlight movie. Okay, I'll finally watch it. I've never seen it, but it's not not the Project Greenlight.
Pulled the rug out from under you.
Well, that's okay though. That's okay. But no, I didn't know really anything about this movie or who all was in it or whatnot. So when I sat down to watch it, I was like, oh, there's Ben Foster. He looks really young. There's this person.
Yeah.
There's
he doesn't look like he's related to Adrian Brody or Joe Montana at all.
Not really. No. But I actually like this better than Diner. Because one of my complaints, and I think another complaint of yours as well, was that Diner left us kind of hanging as far as some of the story threads. I don't feel that way with this movie. I also, this movie is more about the family. It's more about those family characters. It's about the two brothers, Adrian Brody and Ben Foster. It's about the father, Joe Mantegna. Not really about the mother.
Yeah, she's kind of there.
She's kind of there. Yeah. But the father and the two brothers, they all have their own little stories, and I feel like all of those stories get wrapped up. Yep. So I was like, good. But overall, I mean, I just like the movie. I like the stuff they do. I like the performances. Rebecca Johnson, I haven't seen her in anything else, but I really liked her. And I was like, I wish that she would have done. I did look at her filmography. She's done a handful of other things, but she was like a musician. And I actually remember her single that she had on the radio back in 1998 called
really?
Sin So Well. Yeah. I remember hearing it back in the day. In fact, I think I have her CD at home somewhere. But I didn't realize it was the same person.
You should have brought it. Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, well, I'd have to go dig it out of a box somewhere. But I didn't realize it was the same person. But I liked her. I liked her and Ben Foster's like relationship and them kind of hanging out and everything. Adrian Brody's trying to find this Cinderella girl, whatever, and then Joe Mantegna's got his numbers racket and his burlesque show and everything. All that stuff was interesting to me. Once again, just like with Diner, I like the ambiance. I love the cars. I love Joe Mantegna's car that he buys. Yeah. I like the music.
He buys a new Cadillac every year.
Yeah,
That's
it's awesome. This one, what was it, mint green or something
mint
like
green,
that?
and it's like, oh well, I don't want the convertible. I want the hard top.
Yeah, I got to leave Rosh Hashanah or whatever and go and see the new Cadillac.
I like that he had
stuff.
that inner life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where, yeah.
But yeah, no, I really like this film a lot. I mean, I was into it. Once again, I mean, I didn't feel incomplete at the end of it. I didn't feel like it left me hanging. I thought it was enjoyable, and I liked it better than Diner. And that may be blasphemy to say. I know Diner is very beloved, but I thought it was a better film than Diner. So I guess, I know you said at the end of the last episode, we'll see kind of how far Barry Levinson has matured. I feel like he matured a lot because I think Liberty Heights is a better film than Diner. Do you think it was a better film than Diner?
You and I are in the same booth in the same diner.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's I'm more favorable to this movie. This movie is more of the kind of movies that I like, right?
Yeah.
So, like you said, they wrap up the story a little bit more. It's a little bit more focused on the stories they do tell.
Yes.
They do tell,
Yeah,
and it's
definitely.
not a whole bunch of people. And there's more momentum to it. Like each one kind of has, their own arc and the stuff they go through. You get what's going on with Joe Mantegna's character, like you said, running both the burlesque house and then running the books game and all that kind of stuff, and all of his interactions, and that kind of wraps up. You get Ben Foster, who whose school is now newly integrated and all that kind of stuff, who falls in love with a black girl that and both her family and his family are not over it at all. But
yeah, and that was heartbreaking. They want to be together.
Yeah.
You can tell they really like each other, but neither one of their parents approves, and so they just can't.
And you can see like he's wrestling with his own identity because he dresses up as Hitler for like Halloween and stuff like that, which is really, really out there and crazy. Yeah. But you can see like he's wrestling with where he fits in and all that kind of stuff, and that's interesting. And then you kind of have, I think Adrian Brody's story is probably the smallest of everyone.
I agree.
With his, him meeting a girl at the party and being love forlorn and all that kind of stuff. But but you see him kind of going through his life and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm with you. I like that this one has more propulsion, has better story arcs, better story for all these characters, and I found everyone interesting and all that kind of stuff. I really liked the Joe Mantegna stuff. Like I'd like to see more in that elk, because you really don't see. I feel like you don't see a lot of like Jewish American gangsters. Like I feel like that's not a thing you see a lot on. I guess he's not really a gangster, but like a book runner. Yeah. I really don't feel like you see that a lot in movies and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like, I mean, I don't really think of him as a gangster, even though he does run a numbers racket. But I was very interested in that because when they talk about having like, oh, we're gonna have this bonus thing and we're gonna change it up. And then the Orlando Jones character, Little Melvin, he hits and he gets the bonus, and suddenly they're $100,000 in debt to him. Yep. I was like, how are they going to resolve this? I was genuinely interested in what are they going to do, because you don't see them as being violent men. Yeah. I was like, are they going to try and kill him? Like, what are they like? It seems
like he's dealing with some people in his group that do want to kill him. Yeah, like we can just wipe him out and just be over with it. And he's like, no. Yeah, that's just not the way we handle things
that way. Yeah. And then Orlando, ends up kidnapping Ben Foster character and everything, and also kidnaps the Sylvia character and his other friend and her friend and everything. And it's like, what's gonna happen here? Like, because again, you don't really think of the Little Melvin character as being super violent either, but he does have a gun and everything. So I was like, what's happening? I mean, I was genuinely interested in what was going on.
I agree. And we have like a little like I want to hold your hand thing going on with like them going to James Brown concert.
James Brown,
which is cool, right? Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool and interesting and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I'm with you. I think this movie is I want to say head and shoulders above Diner, but I think it just shows it feels like it's more well thought out and more well executed than I would say Diner is and stuff like that. And even in this movie, they go to they go to a diner.
They do.
I don't think it's the same diner, but they
Yeah.
go to a diner, so you get a bit of that diner in this movie. So
You do.
I know you're gonna say this, but it's hard to find, and I'll let you, which is criminal, I believe, in my book.
Yeah. It has no Blu-ray release at this point, and it should.
Yeah,
it really should.
So one thing that kind of scratched me weirdly in this movie, I guess, or that kind of ruffled my feathers, that I'm wondering if you noticed, because it's usually something you notice, is they have some Tom Waits music in this movie, and Tom Waits wasn't even born in 1954.
Yeah,
Did that bother you at all?
I did notice that. It
Yeah.
actually did not bother me, strangely enough. Although, because I thought, I didn't bother to even look. I thought that sure sounds like Tom Waits.
Oh, I mean,
and so I was
yeah.
like, I know that there's no such thing as a Tom Waits song back in 1954, but I thought, they're just doing it for artistic purposes. And it's the one, if they did that throughout the movie, and they had all kinds of
I think they had like
anachronistic
two of his
music.
songs in the movie.
Oh, I only remember the one.
Okay.
Well, if there's more than one, it didn't faze me.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me this time.
It kind of, I was just like, oh, this is definitely Tom Waits. And I'm like, Tom Waits is like still alive.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, I was trying to do the math. I don't know. It didn't really. I found it a
He
little
recorded it
distracting.
in his crib.
He did.
He's like, hey,
He probably sounded like that.
Tom Waits, okay.
He sounded like that since he was at the womb.
Yeah. Get him.
So according to Barry Levinson, this film came out as based off of a derogatory comment that someone said about Dustin Hoffman's character in Sphere. And so the critics' comment got Levinson thinking about his experiences growing up in Baltimore, and then Liberty Heights was born from that.
That's a strange genesis for a movie.
Hey, it works.
Because he directed Sphere, right?
He did direct Sphere,
So
yeah.
somebody said something crappy about Dustin Hoffman's character in Sphere that spawned a whole movie.
Yeah.
Which is a good movie. It's
Yeah,
funny.
I agree. And then I think that's really all I have as notes for this guy. I was really surprised by it. I'm shocked that there's no Blu-ray release, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the day will come, but yeah, as of right now, I guess it's just DVD only or VHS if you're into that sort of thing.
So with these two movies under your belt, Diner and Liberty Heights, are you curious to see Tin Man or Avalon?
Oh
or
yeah,
those?
absolutely. I'd like to complete the quadrilogy.
Me too.
Sure, yeah.
I think Tin Man looks really interesting.
Yeah, Richard Dreyfuss. And, who's it? Joe Piscopo or somebody? I don't even remember.
I just remember Richard Dreyfuss on there.
Yeah, definitely. I'd like to see the other two. And I always hear Avalon is always on the Thanksgiving movies lists. It's always like,
really?
it's apparently. I mean, I don't think the whole thing is like a Thanksgiving movie, but I guess it has like a prominent Thanksgiving scene in it. So it's on like all of those Thanksgiving movie lists.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because I always see it and I go, oh, we should do that. And we
never do.
So maybe we will.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we kind of know where we found on Liberty Heights. We're pretty favorable, pretty positive.
Oh,
on the
definitely,
movie.
yeah. I thought it was good.
I recommend it.
Yeah.
So where are the critics on this guy?
It is 85% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
Not quite Diner.
Not quite Diner. Diner was 91%. This is 85%. Still good, though. And only slightly down in the audience. Diner was 78%. This is 76%. Roger Ebert did like it. He gave it thumbs up. Siskel had passed away by this point. And Leonard Maltin did not like this as much as Diner. He gave Diner 3.5. He gave this 2.5, which is what I would probably give Diner.
Yeah.
I might give this 3.5 or 3
I'd
or something.
flip Maltin's.
Yeah, really flip them, right?
Yeah,
So,
same here.
Yeah, it was good. Liked it.
All right. Well, that was Liberty Heights. So on these Wednesday episodes, we usually answer viewer questions. But since we're coming to the end of the year, it's fast approaching us. We're wearing holiday sweaters. We decided to, as we normally do a retrospective on the movies that we've seen this year. And we want to talk about some of our favorite movies that we've seen this year. We're not limiting it to just movies that came out this year.
No.
Because, with coming post-COVID and all that kind of stuff, it's still not a lot of things to see in theaters. So so our lists are purely based on movies that came out this year that is purely coincidental and all that kind of stuff. So do you have an order on yours, or do you just want to start going? You want to switch between us, or how do you want to do this? I have 3.
I was going to say I have more than you, so I'm going to lump some of mine together. But yeah, like you said, I mean, I I definitely watched some movies from 2022, and there's some movies from 2022 on my list, but this is going to include movies that are I don't think any of them are before like 2015, but these are movies that I and you saw in the calendar year 2022. They didn't necessarily weren't released for the first time in 2022, but. I'll start with the two theatrical releases because I think there's only two theatrical releases that I saw in 2022. I may be wrong, but I think there was only two, and I liked both of them. One was Everything Everywhere All at Once with Michelle Yeoh and for Ki Hu Kwan, Short Round. I know he probably hates people always referring to him as Short Round, but I can't help it. And I thought that was good, very interesting, very well done and odd and just all those things. I'd like to see it again. I haven't watched it for a second time yet. And the other movie that I saw in the theater, I know you saw it as well. We both saw it together, and it was Top Gun Maverick. I'm still shocked at how entertaining that was compared to, because I'm not really a fan of the first film. I was very, very pleasantly surprised at how cool that movie was. Very, very entertaining. And that's another one. I'd like to watch it again. I have yet to do that.
Yeah, both of those are on my list, actually.
All right.
So I think I was a little cool on Everything Everywhere All at Once, but after sitting with it for a little bit and everything, I really, really started enjoying it. Yeah. Ki Hu Kwan is just awesome in it. And it's so, to me, the thing that still baffles me is like how kind of, I think I don't feel like this is derogatory to say, but when he's like the dad, he's supposed to look like nerdy and just kind of frumpy and stuff like that. But whenever she goes and she's like the actress and he's outside, like in the tux, I'm amazed on how well he cleans up and how dapper he looks.
Yeah, he looks very suave and dashing.
Yes, it's like a Steve Urkel and Stefan kind of change. I was not since Family Matters have I been so shocked at the range an actor can look and stuff like that. So I'm just shocked by that, and it's just a really just unique and interesting movie and all that kind of stuff. It's great. And like you, Top Gun Maverick is like the crowd pleaser, popcorn blockbuster flick, and it shouldn't be good. A lot of Tom Cruise's movies are kind of barely good these days. Say what you will about the Chris McQuarrie stuff. He kind of builds them as he goes along, and they're not really necessarily super thought out, but this one worked, and even though Chris McQuarrie didn't direct it, he helped write it. But it just worked. It was just a very interesting story. Tom Cruise held it out for it to be in theaters, and he gambled on that, and he won big with that. So that was both those movies. Very shocking that I probably would have known I liked Everything Everywhere All at Once because I liked Swiss Army Man, but I was kind of shocked on how much I liked Top Gun Maverick because I figured that was going to be I figured I was going to feel about it the way I felt about all the Marvel movies released this year, which are just kind of like, meh, okay, next thing. Yeah. Kind of stuff like that.
What about, so the next movie I wanted to mention was a movie that was nominated for Academy Awards this year, and we also watched this together on Apple TV, Coda.
Yeah, I actually forgot that I watched Coda this year. I don't think it will make my top list, but I thought it was good. Yeah. Yeah. And so you really are favorable on that?
Well, I was kind of just skimming all the movies that I watched over the year, and out of all of the kind of Best Picture nominees, I didn't really like Belfast and some of the other ones. And I liked King Richard a lot, but now I can't stand Will Smith because he's such a dick for slapping Chris Rock. Yeah. I hate to say that, but it makes me soured on him at the moment. He has a new movie on Apple. Something like that on Apple TV, and I'm like, I don't even want to watch it. Yeah. He's such an asshole.
Maybe he'll get slapped in the movie, you'll feel better.
Well, I just and again, I try and separate the art from the artist, but that was such a shitty thing for him to do. Yeah, and then he wins Best Actor on top of that. I was like, you're a dick. Yeah. So I didn't put King Richard on here. I know that's probably petty of me. Instead, I put Coda on here. So you just have one more, is that right? I
just have one more.
Well, then I'll go ahead and just say, just quickly list all of these other ones. I don't think any of them came out this year. I could be wrong, but I don't think any of them came out this year. But they all, again, as I was kind of skimming my list, kind of jumped out at me. I remember liking them. One was Riders of Justice with Mads Mikkelsen.
Yep.
I thought that was a cool, again, movie that I'd not heard of that I caught on Hulu. Another movie that I caught on Hulu that was, again, sort of unseen or under the radar. It's called Stop and Go, about two girls that take like a COVID trip to go see their mother. I think it's it's a grandmother, I think, in a nursing home. I thought that was pretty funny. The Villainous, which I mentioned, is kind of like the Asian equivalent to Point of No Return, to La Femme Nikita, all that kind of stuff, which I thought was cool, and which apparently influenced some stuff in the John Wick 3. Revenge, which is not believable at all, but I still thought was a cool little movie. As far as horror films, horror-ish goes, I know I mentioned this movie, Possum, which is about a disgraced puppeteer who returns home to see his father, and it's just got some really creepy imagery. And The Green Knight, or is Green Knight? I can't remember if it has an article. With Dev Patel, which I just thought was really, again, it's the same guy that made, I think, A Ghost Story, which is like a huge chore to get through. You got to watch Rooney Mara eat a pie for 20 minutes or whatever. So this movie is not like that at all. I thought that it was so visually really cool, just so interesting, such a really cool. And technically, I guess it's kind of a holiday movie because I think it does take place around the Christmas holidays or something like that. But it's a very cool movie. That's another one, along with Top Gun and Everything Everywhere All at Once, that I need to see a second time.
Gotcha.
I thought it was very cool. I've got one more movie that I'll mention, but I'll let you go.
Yeah. So the last movie on my list is one that I am shocked that I liked. I didn't think I would ever like. Even more shocked than me liking Top Gun Maverick, and that's Uncharted.
Oh, really?
Love the video game series a whole lot. I played all 4 Uncharteds. I adore the series.
Yeah, I do too. I love.
think it's very interesting. And when I saw the movie and the trailer, or when I saw the trailer, I thought this is terrible. They made a terrible casting choice. This is going to be really bad. And maybe because I had such low expectations, it kind of just exceeded them. Yeah. Like, I don't think it's a great movie. It's not as great as Top Gun Maverick or any of the other movies I've liked for the past few years, but it just was surprising, and I actually enjoyed it. And I'm shocked as anyone that I enjoyed it as much as I did. So I've decided I had to put Uncharted on the list.
Oh, that's cool. I still need to see it. I have not seen that one yet, but I love the video games like you. And when I saw the preview and whatnot, I was like, why did they cast any of these people in it?
No, they're all terribly wrongly cast. And for me, it's just like, I guess in my head, it doesn't register as an Uncharted movie.
Yeah. Even
though they're like characters like that. And then I think I said this when I first talked about it on the show. They criminally underutilized Nate's theme in the movie, which is one of the best actually video game themes written, I believe, in my opinion. Like, it's up there with like Mario and stuff like that in my book. It's a really, really good theme.
Cool. The last movie that I will mention is a movie that I already have watched twice this year. I think this is the oldest movie on the list. I think it came out in 2014 or 2015, and it's the movie Spring. I saw it on Hulu, and I absolutely loved it, and I watched it just a few months, I think, after that, and I know I will watch it more times in the future. Like, this is already cracked my probably top 50 films.
Wow.
I love it. It's a Lovecraftian love story, and it's unique and special. I really dug it. It's my favorite thing that those two filmmakers have done. Benson and Moorhead, I think is their names. That's my favorite thing that they've done so far, and they'd be hard pressed to exceed it. I think they did Resolution first, and then they did Spring, and then they Endless, and then whatever
the theme park one.
I don't know. What's the name? What's the one with Anthony Mackie? Is it that?
That's the one I'm thinking about.
I don't think I've seen that one. So, but Spring I thought is phenomenal. Awesome. I really love it.
I still need to check it out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that is our favorite movies of the year. Now it's your turn. Let us know what your favorite movie you watched this year is. Maybe it's one we mentioned. Maybe it's a new one. Maybe it's one we haven't even heard of before. So leave a comment down below. Let us know what's your favorite movie that you've seen this year is. And maybe if it's one that looks interesting or that we haven't seen, we can put it on the show and review it. That would be very cool. yeah, I'm trying to remember when Christmas comes up in relation to when this episode comes out.
Next week.
Next week. All right. So stay tuned next week as we have our special, as we like to do for the holidays, themed episode. And then we come at you with some regular reviews too. So we'll see you soon, guys. Actually, yeah, Christmas comes on Saturday, right? Or no, Sunday.
Sunday.
Yep, Sunday. So stay tuned for that. We'll see you soon, guys. Have a good one. Thank you.